Smackdown review for the September 13th episode. I'm Will, that's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers, talk about some wrestling, huh?
Yeah, big episode of SmackDown. USA premiere, season premiere, new intro, new music.
Yeah, what'd you think about that intro?
The
Megan Thee Stallion?
The graphics for the intro and throughout the match, like all those graphics. I like the graphics.
Oh, the graphics were sick.
The song, not a big fan of.
Did you notice that throughout the night they would show like pictures from previous SmackDowns, and they had the previous SmackDown songs when they were doing it. And I was like, those are bangers. Just use that.
Yeah.
Megan Thee Stallion, no offense to her, but that just doesn't fit SmackDown.
Even like the I think it's a Green Day song, like "Do You Know Your Enemy" or whatever.
Yeah.
Like even that one, I'm like, man, and I like that. You know, we got some old footage, 25th anniversary, and we got some
new logo.
What RVD, Vicky Guerrero, Sheamus, Michael P.S. Hayes, some of the old school.
Oh yeah, Teddy Long.
Teddy Long.
Thought Undertaker was going to show up. Thought he was going to be in the match.
They should have done that. They should have said his music, and then they should have just said "dong."
Teddy Long should have announced the Roman stuff later. Anyway, speaking of people who are showing up to SmackDown, Triple H starts the show per usual. One thing that I will say, no new set. No new set. We're sticking with the screen, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's not bad by any means, but you know, a little bit of me wanted to see something, you know?
Yeah, it would have felt nice, but at the same time, I guess their thought was probably like, we got a new logo, we got entrance music, we got, I don't know, just the presentation felt a little bit.
The presentation was awesome.
Crispier.
The use of the 8K cam at all times is amazing. But he comes out, he basically does the whole 25 years of SmackDown. He remembers being on the first show and facing The Rock in Kansas City, Kemper Arena, where I graduated high school.
Does he win or does he lose? Do you remember that match?
Oh, he wins. Yeah, he wins on the first episode of SmackDown.
Yes, he did.
He said there's no better way to start this new era of SmackDown on USA than our first match of the night, Cody Rhodes, Solo Sikoa, Steel Cage, and he says, let's hit it. Are you ready? That's what he says. And then the Steel Cage starts coming down, but they did something cool. Fire shooting up. They had fire shooting up from the ring while the cage was lowering. I was like, this is badass.
It's been a while since I remember they used to do that. Like maybe with like Taker Hell in the Cells.
Yeah.
That, just the opening and just the way they really presented this first match on the new SmackDown, like it felt like a big deal.
Yeah, it felt like a big deal because of the presentation, and we got 30 minutes of commercial-free television to start the show, and we got ourselves a Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa Steel Cage WWE Championship match, and this thing was good.
It was good.
This thing was good. Like we said, the 8K cam, they were going hard on the 8K cam. They were doing the in-ring like intros with when they dim the lights and introduce the challenger and Cody Rhodes, and I was like, this looks like we're watching a movie. This is so cool.
Yeah.
But this match, bang, they had 30 minutes and they used every second of it fast. Cody Rhodes would start hot, but they were basically doing the whole they were making Solo look big, look strong here. There were a couple times when Cody was trying to take him down and Solo just kind of no-sold it and gave him the but Cody would use the cell. He'd start throwing him. He threw him against every single side of the cell, the cage. I guess.
Yeah, you're gonna get roasted in the comments, right?
Yeah, our show doesn't have a roof.
It's not a cell. It's a cage.
Anyway, Solo would get the advantage mid-match. He'd do a bunch of diving headbutts that would actually lead to Cody Rhodes being busted wide open. I thought that we were gonna get the full Crimson Mask, but it never quite got there.
Yeah,
which
just
means
a little bit, you know.
Which means it was an actual like bump. He actually got cut. He didn't blade or anything. But Solo would also respond by using the cage. So mid-match, you have a lot of back and forth with them just throwing each other against his cage. Anyway, Cody would start climbing up to on the side of the cage, not the cell. And instead of keep going, this man would do a Cody cutter off the damn side of the cage. Awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. He would get a 1-2 on that. They got to a point where both men were on the top of the cage, but Solo was like more on the inside of the cage while Cody was trying to climb out, and Solo grabbed him. Superplex from the side / off the top of the cage to to Cody Rhodes. That would get a 1-2 ooh there.
And they talk about that spot, at least Graves does. He's like, oh, like he landed high on his shoulders, like, and he says it's almost a brain buster. Like it was almost a brain buster.
Yeah, dude, it was a bump.
The way he landed, I was like, oh.
You
like,
could kind of see that, like, so like, obviously these guys are professionals and they were confident in the fact that they could do it because they wouldn't have done it if they didn't do it. But you could see it, like, that's just such an awkward angle. You could see it in Solo's face, like it got to a point where he was like, screw it, it's time to just go and see how this works out. And it went, and it ended up being fine. But yeah, they were like this close to it being a nasty hit there. But Solo was really strong here. After he didn't get the 1, 2, 3 here, he got him up 2 spinning solos that looked brutal, you know, basically like super Uranagi's 1, 2, ooh there. But then Cody would pop up. He'd do a disaster kick into a Cody cutter. 1, 2, ooh there. Stuff looking real good here. Eventually, Cody Rhodes would get enough of the advantage where he climbs to the very top of this cage. And he's like, there. He can win it. But it's Cody Rhodes. And we're on USA. And it's a SmackDown season premiere. So Cody Rhodes is like, nah, I got to put on a show. This man does a diving crossbody off the top of the goddamn cage right into Solo Sikoa. Gets the 1, 2, ooh, but this was insane. This man is putting his life on the line every time.
They hit that absolutely perfect.
Yeah, they did.
Too. I mean, usually with stuff like that, you're like, oh, is he going to overshoot, undershoot? Like, that was spot on.
After that, Cody would kind of, you know, he was hurt too. You got to sell that. Big fall. He would kind of like scratch and claw his way to the door, but Solo would get there and use the door and smack him with it. And Solo was like, this is a good time to use my Samoan spike. He goes for the Samoan spike, and Cody's like, no, this would actually be a really good time for a crossroads. He hits the crossroads, 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. Cody Rhodes successfully defends his championship against Solo Sikoa in this steel cage match. He looks down at Solo Sikoa, and you can hear it verbally on the screen. He goes, we're done. We're done. More stuff happens, but I want to get the pop and drop on this thing. This was freaking fantastic. I thought Solo Sikoa was great in this match too. It was fast paced. Both guys looked really strong here. I mean, it has to be a pop.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, I don't know how you would really drop this one.
If you drop this, you don't like wrestling.
Great way to start out. The premiere starts out hot. You get Cody. Cody's in that level. Has been for a while, but I don't know if we say it where he kind of always elevates. Like Cody doesn't really have bad matches.
No,
he just continually goes and goes and goes. As for Solo, one of Solo's top performances in the ring, at least main roster wise. Solo looked really good here. If they had made Solo maybe look this way throughout the Tribal Chief era, I feel like people would be a lot more excited to see him.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, the best part about this was it was a clean match. Like, there was no bloodline interference, which was obviously everybody in the world thought that was going to happen. When he ended up pinning him. Now, I hate the fact that you can pin inside of a steel cage. What's the point of the damn steel cage if you can just go if you can just go ahead and pin him in it? But besides that point, it felt like when Cody said we're done, it felt like this is done. Like this is cemented.
Yeah, and that's probably the biggest thing for me from this match that I took away was the 1, 2, 3. Like you said, we both have our gripes with the pins as well, but 1, 2, 3. My biggest thing was like, oh, there was no interference, there was no effery, there was no anything. Like the steel cage did its job this time, so that was nice. It also kind of like, for lack of a better term, it brought some legitimacy back to the steel cage.
Oh, 100%.
Like you sometimes get those steel cages where it's like, you know, effery's going to happen or people are hiding under the ring or something like that.
Or there's a door that people can just walk right through.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we got effery. So right after this, when he's talking smack to Solo Sikoa, by talking smack, I mean we're done. Bloodline music hits. Bloodline comes out. Fatu, Tamatanga, Tongaloa, and they don't use that door. They climb like rabid dogs. They climb over that cage, and Cody is sitting there like, I'm about to have an owie. This is gonna hurt pretty bad, and it hurts pretty bad. They go to town on him. Tamatanga and Tongaloa, they get the best of him right away. They do. I think Tongaloa or Tamatanga hit a finisher on him. I'm not sure what it was, but they set him up for Jacob Fatu to be Jacob Fatu. And that man does freaking, his moonsault is just insane, where he goes rope to rope to rope.
It's his prettiest moonsault ever.
Yeah.
That's
Fatu's prettiest moonsault ever.
That's what they should call it. It perfect. I mean, just bam.
He does a moonsault to Cody, nails him with it. And then this man, or Solo, goes, go to the top. And Fatu's like, I love you, Solo, of course. Yeah, his little prayer. He goes all the way to the top of the cage. And I'm like, this man is going to die doing this.
Yeah, like a flying headbutt was what I thought right away.
Yeah, because he turned. He turned to face Cody. I was like, what is he going to do? But right when he gets to the top of this cage, Roman Reigns' music hits. The tribal chief, the only tribal chief, the one true tribal chief. He comes out and in the most badass fashion. He doesn't like sprint out to help Cody, and he's not even there to help Cody. He's there to hurt the bloodline. He walks out. Fatu actually ends up climbing down the outside of the cell. I don't know. I don't know if the purpose there was to like meet Roman at the rim kind of deal, like before he got to the ring. But I mean, the point was to serve a later story focus that we'll say in a minute.
Yeah. That was my when the music hit. That was my thing. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was like, Roman's music hits. He's slowly walking to the ring. Where does Fatu go? That was my thought. And I see him climb down the back of the cage, and I was like, "No, what the hell?" Like you said, I thought he was gonna maybe meet him. Maybe he gets Superman something at the beginning.
But Roman walks up to the steel cage. He walks through the door. You know, Roman ain't got time to climb that. He's got nice Jordans on. Don't want to get those scuffed. He gets in and he reaches over. He closes the door when he enters the cell, and I'm like, this is badass. And he goes ahead and he Superman punches one of the Tonga Loa guys. Does one more move to another one, and then Solo ends up jumping him from behind. Yeah. And when Solo jumps him from behind, Roman gets a Superman punch to Solo Sikoa. And when he lines up in the corner to do a spear, Fatu pulls Solo Sikoa out of the ring, through the door. When this happens, the entire crowd's on their feet because Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu are staring each other down, and we're like, yes.
Yeah, as badass as Roman was, Fatu was like, I'll be more badass. And he climbs in there and he shuts the door, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, he shuts the door, and we're all going, oh, hell yeah, on free TV? Well, not free, but
we knew that wasn't going to be the case.
We knew that wasn't going to be the case. So they stare each other down, and before... And Fatu starts doing his crazy psychopath, taunts to indicate that he's ready to throw hands. And before he could do anything, Solo Sikoa rips him out of the ring through the door. We ain't getting that yet. Come on now. But when this happens, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa attack Cody again, or attack Roman again. But when that happens, Mr. Cody Rhodes ends up saving the day for Roman Reigns. And then you have those two looking at each other in the ring. Like, the hell's going on here? I don't like you very much, but I don't like them either. What do we do here? So Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns end up teaming, strong enemies make your enemies friends, or whatever they say. Keep your enemies close, or whatever.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Yeah.
This was absolutely fantastic. I guess we'll just note on the very end of it, right after this, Nick Aldis and Kathy Kelly have an interview, and Nick Aldis is like, Solo Sikoa and Fatu have reached out for a match. This night is far from over. This was absolutely fantastic in every way.
Yeah. I was gonna say, do you want to do just this segment and then we talk about that? Okay. I mean, you get Roman Reigns coming back, you get Cody Rhodes and Roman with that just like, you can feel the energy. You can feel that they're like, man, I'm not happy about this. I'm not happy. You save me. I wasn't here to save you. I was here to fight them. You get Fatu, who every time that man's on the screen, he manages to steal the show. I mean, you got a little segment here with Cody and Roman. Roman obviously champ for 4 years, the big dog, tribal chief of the industry, and Cody, I mean, he's right there with Roman, as he alludes to later on, we'll get to. And for me, it was more of like, Fatu is the star here.
Yeah.
Like, as much as those two are stars, Fatu is right there with those guys.
Yeah. What they've done with him is just perfect. Like, man hasn't spoken. Only thing he said, I love you, Solo. You are my travel. Like, That's it. And just his in-ring and just the way they've booked him to be a destroyer or whatever they call it for Solo, his protector. Enforcer, yeah. I mean, it's just another level of character building without words. Like actions speak louder than words sometimes, and this is it. And you're completely right. Like the stare down of Roman and Fatu was like it felt like everybody in the arena and probably everybody at home was just like, okay, that's the match. Like that's the match. We've always thought that it was going to be Solo and Roman, which it probably is still booked to be that way and will eventually be booked to be that way. But like in terms of fan interest, like that's the match.
Yeah,
that's the match.
I wouldn't be surprised if I don't know. WWE always has a plan to pivot, so I wouldn't be surprised if some way somehow they did that little moment as like a test of like, let's see how this gets the reactions that we want. And then maybe down the line, you get him and Roman, and then you circle back around and you get Solo, Cody of some sort again, because you can't just abandon Solo. I know they built Solo up for so long, but admittedly, maybe it's more of a want. But I could see them just putting Fatu in that spot.
Well, and then you have whatever The Rock is doing, like Fatu's emergence as like a superstar in the WWE has to be. I mean, it's awesome because you always need superstars, right? But like in the story wise, it's like, okay, how is The Rock gonna come back and make this guy look like he's not as good as The Rock? Like you're in a position where this guy just looks so powerful and amazing, and it's great. Like I'm not hating on it at all, but it's like right now I don't believe the final boss could take him on really. Like I at the moment I don't think Cody Rhodes could take this man on. Like what are we doing?
I love you, Dwayne. You are my final boss. That's what it is.
I love you, Tooth Fairy. Amazing. There's more stuff later. We'll get to it. We did get a very quick Michin versus Piper Niven match. Piper's out there with Chelsea Green. Smartest thing I've seen a person do right away. Michin's like, screw this match. Chelsea Green gets involved in every freaking match Piper's in. I'm going for her. So she goes out there. She suicide dives right away. She grabs a kendo stick from outside the ring. She beats her with it. She's like, I can't get disqualified if I beat the shit out of a person who's not in the match.
Smart logic.
But in terms of the actual match between Piper and Michin, basically nothing here. Michin ends up getting a belly to back suplex off the second rope to Piper Niven, which is crazy. Like Piper's that's a lot of person to move around. But Michin ends up doing her finisher, meet the feet, gets a 1-2-3 win over Piper Niven here. But of course, Chelsea Green attacks right after. She gets the trash can because that's what she's calling Michin, is trash. She does the unprettier onto the trash can to Michin. This whole thing was quick, but Michin gets a win. We just spoke about last week how seeing Michin on TV all the time is great, but she isn't getting wins, so we need to change that somehow. This is a good way to do it. Fun little segment here. I'm gonna give it a pop.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop just as well. You need something from the crowd to come down from, obviously, because of just how amazing that first. I don't know. I know they said 30 minutes, but it's roughly like 40 minutes-ish.
Yeah, they had to sprint through the rest of the show.
Yeah, and so, they shorten stuff here and there. So, nice quick thing. You get the Michin and Chelsea Green stuff, which Chelsea Green is the star. We always say it every week. I thought the unpretty her to the trash can, I really like that. I was like, that's smart. That's awesome. You give Chelsea some, like, not only does Chelsea now have the great character work, but now she has some sort of attitude behind her.
Yes.
And some sort of like, okay, I can take people out myself. So yeah, all in all, good little quick thing.
My only gripe, and it's not even really a gripe. It's not a gripe, but it's just a pointing out of the story. It's like the only thing that this does do is it make it feel like Piper's not necessary. Like there's no more enforcing from her. Like Michin beat her pretty quickly here and didn't really have issue with it. Yeah. So it's like, obviously that works for Chelsea's character to have Piper, but in terms of like actual, if you look into the meat of it, it's like, well, I mean, Michin just beat her. So.
Yeah, and they've kind of just ever since. I mean, you made a good point. Ever since the Clash, where it felt like she was the one that really got that hometown push. Like they have not done anything with Piper.
Maybe next year at Bash. A-Town Down Under is coming out. Kevin Owens is scheduled to do a tag team match with them, but he doesn't have a partner. And everybody at home, everybody everywhere is like, it's going to be Randy Orton. It's going to be Randy Orton. So Kevin Owens comes out, takes a mic, and he goes, or no, he doesn't even take a mic. They say, and Kevin Owens' mystery partner is random music hits, and I'm like, am I missing something? I don't know. I don't know what this guy is. Am I not a wrestling fan? And this guy comes out, just average looking dude, got chest hair. Corey Graves points it out. He's like, Michael Cole's like, I miss the days where wrestlers wax their chest hair, and Kevin takes a mic and he's like, why is everybody laughing? I had a partner, but he couldn't make it due to some travel difficulties. So this is Ricky. Let's do this, Ricky.
Yeah. He doesn't even know his name. He's like, and this is, and he pauses and he's like, what's your name? Ricky. And Ricky also on the back of his trunks, I believe it said Midnight Heat in Miami Vice.
There you go.
Colors and writing and stuff.
He's probably like the best hometown wrestler, like indie scene wrestler, and just like nobody knows him here. But I was a big fan of Ricky for the moment. But he goes, all right, let's just do this, Ricky. And before the match could start, someone from the outside, like a worker.
I think it was Alicia Taylor, maybe.
Was it?
I think it might have been the NSRU.
She comes over and she's like, Kevin, no, your partner's here. Your partner's here. He made it. And then Kevin's like, oh, my partner's here. He made it. Okay. Sorry, Ricky. And he goes over and he stuns Ricky. Hey, friendly fire, bro.
Now, Ricky was just trying to do a job here.
Yeah.
He was trying to help you out.
But when he stuns Ricky, Randy Orton's music hits, of course. Got a long entrance. They were loving him.
Long is probably an That's also why they had to cut stuff out of the match, because Randy took 5 minutes to get to the ring.
He did. He really did. It was like his return from years of inactivity. But
it like goes off and it's like, cool, Randy Orton. And then like I put my phone down and I'm sitting there eating dinner and I'm halfway through my dinner and then I look up and I'm 3/4 through my dinner. And
I just slept through the entire night and he's still posing.
I'm like, what is going on here?
But the match would happen and KO would get the advantage quickly. They'd go to the outside of the ring, actually. And when they went to the outside of the ring, Randy Orton would come over and try to get the best out of Waller and Theory. And they did for a moment until tides turned and Grayson Waller actually did the Randy Orton announce table spot where he picks a guy up and drops him on the announce table to Kevin Owens. And when he does that, he turns, looks at Orton and hits the pose. Michael Cole's like, anybody who's ever done that, it hasn't worked it out for him. So good luck on that, Grayson Waller. But middle of the match here is mostly just Waller and Theory working KO. I mean, Randy wasn't here to do much.
Nope.
But when KO would get the hot tag, it was the smartest hot tag I've ever seen because
yeah.
Waller and Theory were both in the ring. I mean, they were doing their best to just try to not get Randy in the match. And KO got the best of them, but they were in between. Like KO was on the opposite turnbuckle as Orton, so he like would have to go through both of them to get there. And he was like, no, actually, I'm just going to get out of the ring and walk out of the ring and then tag him in. So he just went outside the ring.
I'm going to slide in the ring at the last second in the other corner.
Yeah. He was
and I'm going to tag him in.
Yeah, he tagged him in. I was like,
I've never seen him before.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But Randy would get all the hot tag momentum here. He would do the scoop slams to both guys. He'd go for the draping DDT, but they would get out of the ring where Randy Orton would get his karma, get his revenge on Grayson Waller, where he would do his announce table spot to both of them.
Back to back.
Yeah, back to back. Then they'd get in the ring. Him and KO would do a double draping DDT to both guys. And then KO would hit the stunner on Austin Theory, who sold it like an absolute champ per usual. Randy Orton would RKO Grayson Waller, 1, 2, 3. They get the win between the Ricky stuff, which was absolutely hilarious, to the fun match. I mean, this is a flat out pop for me. I have nothing bad to say.
Yeah, and they even apologized to Ricky at the end, which I thought was
wasn't it Randy?
They both did.
Oh,
they both did. So Kevin says sorry, Ricky, and then Randy's like, yeah, sorry, Ricky. You know, so that's just fun. Theory's got that. I noticed it for a while. He's got that Scott Hall sell for the stunner.
Yeah,
where he takes it and then he just launches himself up in the air.
Kicks his feet.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's so good. It's so fun. Yeah, nothing bad to say about this match. Kevin's kind of that guy that puts in all the work, and he's the one that has to, Theory and Waller did do a pretty good job on him and kept him away for quite a long time, like 80% of this match. Quick little hot tag, quick little fun match. I guess A-Town Down Under's probably going to break up here soon, I would assume. They just keep getting matches and they keep losing. So it's like, who cares,
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it at this point. They're funny. Like they're funny and they're good in the ring.
There was a part there for a while where I liked them. And then there was a part where I was like, okay, can you hurry up and break them up already?
Yeah.
But the last few weeks with Kevin Owens' help, they've become fun again to me.
Yeah, I honestly don't see them breaking up anytime soon now, just because I don't think there's not much room on the card for a big Austin Theory Grayson Waller feud right now. So I think it is kind of just better to have them be the tag team that can get a win once every month, but most of the time just be the funny heelish tag team that can give you a good match and let you go over. Like,
thing is like they're really good at that.
They are. They're
like
so
that,
good at
that
it.
fits them perfectly.
Waller was born to be that. Like he was. He's such an ass. And it's just like, I want him to get stunned. I want him to get RKO'd. And then he gets RKO'd. I'm like, yeah, that was good. We move on. Kathy Kelly and Nick Aldis. She just must be on his ass all night because she was, every time you saw Kathy, you saw Nick.
Yeah.
And Nick Aldis announced that he's got news. Solo Sikoa has made a challenge. Solo wants him and Fatu to fight Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes at the Bad Blood PLE. And he goes, Solo and Fatu already signed, so I just need to make my affairs with Roman and Cody. And when he says that, Cody walks into the room.
He's got supersonic hearing.
He does. He must have heard through the wall because he already knew what the match was.
Yeah, I don't know. He might be watching it on his phone. I don't know.
He's just standing behind the camera.
That's not going to work for me, Nick. I don't like that.
He walked over and Cody's like, no. I heard you, but Bloodline is not my problem. Bloodline is Roman's problem. I'm done. I'm done with this. And I was like, fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah.
I'm not going to lie with you. I had a bit of happiness at this point.
Yeah, me too.
Because I was like, cool, Cody's done with it. Everybody, for the most part, from what I've seen, is pretty sick of it. It's like, cool, Cody's done with it. And it's nice to me that, like, this part right here added an extra dimension to Cody because it's like he's not that overwhelming babyface. I'm going to help everybody. I'm going to do what I can to support everybody else on the roster. Like, he's like, no, like, it's Roman Reigns' problem. I don't like Roman Reigns, basically.
Yeah.
And he's going to deal with it. And I was like, I like that.
Yeah, he was like, I literally just beat this guy in a steel cage. I've beaten him twice in the past month and a half. Like, I'm done with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Let me go, Nick. Anyway, we'd have Nia Jax come out to the ring, and she was talking about all of her accolades over the last year since she returned. You know, she won the she won the Queen of the Ring. Mm-hmm. She won the championship. She is carrying SmackDown. This is her division. This is her show. Nick Aldis has said she's going to defend her title with Bad Blood, but she doesn't know who, and whoever wants it can come get it. And when that happens, Miss Bailey comes out. And I was like, I'm having deja vu. Didn't we just do this?
Which I was also confused because her music goes off, and admittedly, the music is so hard to tell nowadays. And people in the crowd were like, yeah. And I was like, I sat there out loud, and I was like, well, who is this? Like, I was like, I don't know who this, you know what I mean?
Dude, I felt the exact same way. I'm glad you said that. I just, in my head, assumed it was Bailey. But like the camera was like on Nia, but you could hear the music and see the crowd, and I was like, it's got to be Bailey, right? But yeah, I have no idea on the music. Like, all right, freaking Ricky again.
Comes out and he gets annihilated. That's what they should have done. They should have had a segment. Yeah. He just gets speared or Superman
You needed a Ricky Chelsea Green run in. We needed that interaction. Bailey came out and was like, yeah, you have had a good year, but guess what? I want my rematch because rematch clauses are invoked whenever I want to in my story. And Nia said, you can't demand anything from me. I've run this division. I don't need a posse to do it like you did a year ago with Damage Control. And Bailey at that point was like, what do you mean? You literally have a posse. Tiffany helps you win everything. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, Tiff comes out because she doesn't want that shit talk about her.
Yeah. How dare she?
How dare she? How dare she bring that up? And Tiffany was basically like, stop disrespecting my queen and champion, Nia. And Bailey was like, or no, and then Tiff was like, if anybody deserves a title shot, it's kind of me, but I already have my Money in the Bank briefcase, so I didn't have to beg for a title. I don't have to beg for a title shot. I have this. And Bailey was like, well, if you deserve a title shot, I beat you last week, so what does that mean? And then Tiff was like, you only beat me because Nia got involved. And Bailey was like, my trap card has been set. Does that
mean activated my trap card?
She's like, does that mean that Nia screwed you out of a win? Do you think you would have won if Nia wasn't there? So Nia sees right through this and is like, yeah, you're not putting me and Tiffany against each other. And when this happens, Naomi comes out. And I was like, oh, hi, Naomi. How you doing? But she comes out and she says, because Nia starts to kind of square up on Bayley. Like she approaches her. And when this happens, Naomi comes out and Naomi is like, you're not going to beat up my girl. Plus, I kind of want a title match too. I kind of deserve it. And when this happens and they're all bickering, Nia's like, I have an idea. Mm-hmm. Tag team match, me and Tiff versus you two. If we win, Tiffany gets a title shot at Bad Blood. If you win, you two get a title shot at Bad Blood against me in a triple threat match. But with a kicker, whoever loses, and Michael Cole said this later in the night, whoever takes the pin in this match has to permanently move to SmackDown or to Raw.
Yeah, and I think whoever gets the pin for Bayley Naomi, they get the title shot.
Oh.
I was under the impression it wasn't going to be a triple threat. I was just under the impression that it's whoever gets the pin. Because with Michael putting that much emphasis on who gets pinned or gets the pin, I was like, that makes more sense.
Interesting situation here. Mm-hmm. Very interesting situation. For the segment, I'm going to go ahead and pop it because of the interesting stipulation that eventually was put. Like that's interesting. So I'll give it to him. It was nothing special here, but interesting enough end. What do you think about the overall?
Yeah, the segment itself, like you said, it felt like deja vu. It felt like a lot of the same stuff. Naomi coming out and saying she deserves a championship. I don't see that. Maybe I'm missing something. I guess if you're a superstar, you always want a championship match. So, and everybody gets them if you come out and say that. So why not? The stipulation saved this for me. It was going to be a drop. The stipulation adds intrigue. I kind of play with scenarios in my head now of like which one's going to go, especially with later on what we see with Nia and Tiffany. I feel like they're getting the win.
See, I'm opposite. I think Tiffany's taking the pin.
You think so?
I think they're gonna get Tiff away from Nia, and play the.
But I don't think that if Tiffany gets pinned, I don't think Tiffany goes anywhere. I think it just costs Nia a match. The way I understood it, and I'm probably wrong because I'm not very smart. Only Bayley or Naomi is up for Raw.
Oh, I thought it was just flat out whoever gets pinned.
Maybe that is true. Maybe I'm misunderstanding, but I don't know.
It's interesting.
I do wish they had it a little bit more. We'll get it as the weeks go on, or as the week goes on, because it's next week. A little bit more concrete of the exact stipulation.
Yeah, we do need the stipulation, but no matter what, it works out because if any of these girls take the pin, like probably the betting favorite is probably Bayley taking the pin, so that you can send her to Raw, and then that gives you a singles competitor on the women's division of Raw, which desperately needs it.
Yep.
So that would work out.
That was kind of just my whole thought, or at least why I think that maybe it's only Bayley and Naomi up for it. But that was my whole thing: is you got to get somebody kind of to help the Raw women's side. And you look at it, SmackDown's kind of got a bunch of them. I say a bunch of them, but I mean they have like 5. But.
Well, it's a lot compared to Raw singles division. Kathy's back with Nick again, and Nick basically just says, guess what? Roman Reigns wants to address this match tonight, so it's not over. We'll get him later. Then Carmelo Hayes and Andrade, the 2-2 tie has to be broke. And it's the rubber match here. It's the 5th, and what ends up being the match that decides who gets to fight LA Knight for that United States Championship. And during the entrances, Carmelo Hayes attacks Andrade, and I was like, well, that's not good. He probably gonna lose this match. And these guys have put on 4 matches already. You know what's involved in the match. They're freaking spectacular every single time they go out there, and the match starts out flaming. So Hayes obviously gets the jump on him, but Andrade gets a good jump back, throws him to the outside of the ring, and then he goes to the second turnbuckle, does a moonsault from the second turnbuckle to the outside of the ring to Carmelo Hayes, where they then beat the hell out of each other on the outside of the ring. They end up on the barricade, Spanish fly off the barricade. I was like, this is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And they took a bump there. Mm-hmm. Hayes especially, man.
That looked like it hurt.
Yeah, that was not good. The middle of this match was a Carmelo Hayes Andrade match through and through. A bunch of amazing back and forths, a bunch of roll-ups, a lot of pin tries. Obviously, none of them got it. They would both go for their finisher with absolutely no success until Andrade would hit a Canadian Destroyer, which I like to see. I like those moves.
I like it when it's used as a finisher.
Yeah.
I don't like it when it's just pulled out of nowhere just because.
When he does this, he props him Mello up right away into the corner, does a double knee, goes for the pin, 1-2, Hayes grabs the rope. Andrade would go for a split leg moonsault, but he would miss it. And then Carmelo Hayes would go to the top rope as well. He would try to do a move, but he was caught by Andrade, who would do an El Grande off the top rope, which is his finisher off the top rope. They just call it the El Grande. And then 1, 2, 3, Andrade gets the win here. He breaks the tie. LA Knight would then come out. Yeah, he said, congratulations. You just won the hit it and quit it sweepstakes.
He's really making it a thing. He wants it on a shirt.
He wants it so bad. And the WWE's refusing it. They're like, we're not putting hit and quit it on his t-shirt. We're still PG. He comes out. He goes, 1 week from tonight, you, me, United States title. This is all good stuff. I'm popping it.
Yeah, I'm going to pop this as well. You know what you get with these two?
Yeah.
The only gripe I kind of have is, maybe I missed it, but I would have liked to have known this would have been the final match. And I would have liked for it to be at a PLE. I know we talk about like how we like weekly shows, and this was kind of like a PLE like level show. So
for sure.
It makes sense. But we talk about all the time, like weekly shows need really drive home good stuff, right? And this was that. This was perfect. I felt like to kind of take it maybe to the next level, like all the best of series that I can remember, they all ended at PLE. And like Bad Blood, I feel like would have been a great way to get 2 SmackDown guys on the card that aren't really on the card ever for PLEs. And they do have Bad Blood because they have that series kind of built up. But I also understand you don't have that much time. I mean, that's still a ways away. And like I said, this was kind of like a PLE, but take what you can get. And LA and Andrade is going to be fantastic, I'm sure. I'm sure LA is going to look kind of like a fool at times because Andrade is going to wrestle circles around him.
Yeah, you say all that and you're right. But the reason for this is that the match is next week and Carmelo Hayes is 100% getting involved and we're 100% getting a triple threat match at Bad Blood for the U.S. title, right?
You know, I didn't think about that.
That's happening.
Yeah.
That match is not ending clean next week.
Or you have, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
The match is not ending clean. Carmelo Hayes is going to get involved. He's going to bring up some reason as to how his ass got screwed in this tourney. And
yeah, you know, I didn't think about that. Yeah, you're probably right.
He's going to wiggle his way right into that match.
Mm-hmm.
We would then get Byron Saxton backstage with Jade and Bianca, who are very excited to be here because they are champions again. Mm-hmm. And when they were talking about being the champions, Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton show up, and I was like, are they going to go for the tag titles too? What the hell? But Tiffany was like, or Nia was like, hey, by the way, look after your girl Naomi. She keeps sticking her head in our business. Mm-hmm. And if she does that, I'm going to absolutely destroy her. Oh, and by the way, in the Queen of the Ring tournament, I won it by beating each and every one of you, both of you, on the way to the top. So you can be women's tag champions all you want, but this is my division, my show. Peace. And Jade and Bianca were like, that wasn't nice. My feelings are hurt.
You know, that's the whole reason why I'm picking Nia and Tiffany to win. Because of that little interaction. And we've talked about all the time that they make a really good team together. We could have seen them going for those tag titles at one point. Who says they don't? You know, who says they don't? It would bring it would be another title that WWE likes to do that isn't defended. And it gets thrown into something else.
Yeah.
But that would bring a legitimacy to those. Like, that would be the first feud with those tag titles that I'm like, okay, I'm interested in it.
Yeah, and then you just wouldn't have them drop them, and maybe that can cause more tag stuff with Nia and Tiff would lead to more drama, which would lead to more cause for Tiff to cash. So
yeah, and maybe right after the match. Didn't mean to cut you off, but maybe right after the match, like Bianca Jade destroy Nia, and then Tiffany cashes in, and that's how that goes.
There you go. I'm down. Then our main event segment, the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. He comes out, pyro and a bunch of pyro. Pyro before the commercial, pyro after the commercial, because his entrance was 8 hours long, but he's a Tribal Chief, so he deserves it. But Nick Aldis is in the ring. He's got the contract for the match, and he starts to talk, but Roman walks over, and he does the hand me the mic like he did to the wise man for all those years. And Nick Aldis is like, man, I ain't your wise man, but the crowd's going nuts. And Roman puts his hand out again. He's like, come on,
Yeah, because all the stands of the contract, which I thought was nice.
Yeah.
I audibly laughed at that. I was like, oh, okay. That's
not what he
nice.
wanted. Nick Aldis does end up giving him the mic, and we haven't heard Roman Reigns speak since at least WrestleMania. I don't even know if we heard him speak there, but at least before WrestleMania, around that time. And so I'm like, ooh, buddy, get the Tribal Chief talking. And this was a good one. Roman takes the mic and he goes, something has changed, but not me. He goes, I don't need a contract. I don't need this man. As he points to Nick Aldis, who's catching strays for no reason. He's just doing his job. He's the GM of SmackDown. Let him work. But he goes, this is family business. This is bloodline business. He goes, I don't need a partner. I don't need Cody. And whether I have my family's Ula Fala or not, I am the tribal chief. Not only am I the tribal chief, I am the only tribal chief. This is my ring, my show, my WWE. And when he claims that, the champion doesn't like that. Cody Rhodes music hits.
I know we talked about it in the Discord, and you were like, "Oh wow!" I think this was not what I expected.
Not at all.
I did not expect Cody Rhodes' music to hit. I did not expect Cody to walk out.
But it makes perfect sense. Like this guy is standing in your ring. The guy that you beat at WrestleMania is standing in the ring, claiming that he's still on top of the WWE. And Cody's like, "No, no." He comes out and he takes the mic, and it's short and sweet. He goes, "Your ring, your WWE." Well, it was up until WrestleMania. And then when he does that, he just drops the mic. And when he drops the mic, Roman looks at it and he drops his mic. And I'm like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. This don't look good. But the stare down is happening and Bloodline's music hits. Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, they walk out. And Solo looks like he's still he just wrestled the match. I don't know. He's been doing push-ups backstage, but he walks out and Fatu is on his shoulder doing the prayer thing.
I know it's not meant to be funny, but it's funny every time.
I love it. I love you, Solo.
It's so over the top. And the whole time, Solo's staring at Roman and Cody. He's just like this the whole time.
Well, while that happens, obviously Cody and Roman divert their attention to Solo and Fatu. And when they turn their attention to them, Tama Tonga and Tangaloa, they attack from behind. But while Roman is getting beat up here, this was a subtle thing. Roman was getting beat up. Cody actually got the advantage on the guy who he was beating up. So Cody goes and gets the advantage on Tongaloa, I believe.
The infamous.
I
would just assume that's who it is because you're not having well, you might have the infamous Tongaloa beat up Roman Reigns. Why not? For the memes, I mean.
And Cody starts to kind of help Roman too, and Roman obviously gets the advantage of Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, and Solo Sikoa. They just sit there and they watch. They don't get involved. But when Cody and Roman get the advantage, Tama Tonga and Tongaloa clear the ring, and Cody and Roman are back to staring at each other, but there's a different twinkle in Cody's eye now. He's like, I've got attacked again by these dudes. Roman looks around. He goes to the corner of the ring to the contract that he dropped. He picks it up. He opens it. He signs it. He closes it. And he sits there and he stands there and he kind of looks side eyes to Cody Rhodes. And Cody looks at Roman. And it's a big couple pause seconds. And Cody reaches his hand out. Roman Reigns gives him the contract. Cody signs it. We got ourselves Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns teaming up to take on Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa at Bad Blood, man. This was unexpected. I mean, we've done multiple how to book Bad Blood wish lists. Never had a Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns tag team in my head.
Path to Mania. We've done all of it.
We've done all of it. I did not see this coming. I mean, this was awesome. Pop.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop this as well. I went back and forth because, like I said, originally in the night, Cody's like, "I'm done with the Bloodline," and I thought to myself, "Man, that is perfect. That is awesome." I kind of don't want to see Cody with the Bloodline stuff. Admittedly, I still kind of don't want to see Cody with the Bloodline stuff. But the way they did this last segment, this main event segment, like Cody Roman teaming, I mean, that's like Superman and Batman. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, how can I not like that?
Yeah, I literally my exact same sentiment. I was like, when early in the night when Cody was like, I'm done, and when he looked at Solo and was like, we're done, I was like, thank God, let's move it on. But the second that he got out there with Roman again, and they were looking at each other, I was like, okay, just do it. Just do it. Does it make total sense storyline wise? Kinda, but there wasn't enough interaction tonight for Cody to like have such a turn on the dot. Like, oh, Tama Tonga and Tongaloa attacked you. Big whoop. That's your normal day job. But in terms of like deeper storytelling, it does make sense of like, you know, my common enemy is let's you know, screw it. Let's just work together and take these guys out. Yeah. But I did not see it coming.
No, I didn't see it coming. It was unexpected. And like I said, we were kind of stuck. I mean, Bad Blood with Cody Rhodes, like we were like, something's got to happen, because when we talked about Bad Blood, we're like, I don't know who he fights. There's no clear person. This is a way for him to keep that Roman feud alive still. It's a way to, I mean, when they both were out there, I was like, oh man, I kind of want to see this again. I know I just saw it 2 years in a row at Mania, but like, I kind of want to see this again. And then you have the Bloodline stuff with that interaction, obviously Bad Blood. I'm assuming there's going to be, I would assume some type of stipulation maybe. They might just have straight up, but for all the effery that I think is going to happen, I think there is maybe not a stipulation, but ref bumps galore and Bloodline run-ins and Jimmy and the whole shebang. And it's like, now we get the ball rolling for the Bloodline Civil War. But I did not think Cody Rhodes was going to be a catalyst in that.
Well, and I also think it's just this will be the ending of Cody Rhodes at the Bloodline. Like Cody and Roman will win, because you're not having Roman. You just can't have Roman and Cody lose, in my opinion. I don't see a world in which that happens. And then that can be the full on like Cody just being like, okay, dude, I helped you. This is your problem. Let me move on. Like, submitted it, but I'm with you. I'm with you. When they were in the ring, I was like, damn. I've been saying ever since WrestleMania 40, I was like, oh, we're done with that. I don't want to see Cody Roman for a while again. But whenever they're in a ring together, I'm just like, they're sparks. Like, I would fight each other now. Hit.
Yeah. And obviously, like you said, I think that's a perfect way. Like, that is the end. Cody breaks off. Roman does his thing. Maybe down the road, they'll go back to it again. I mean, you have to. You kind of have to have a third match. But God, the electricity that I felt with that, just those two guys in the ring again, it's like, we haven't felt that. And I know Cody and Roman are not opponents. We always talk about Cody needs something to really lift his stock up. Well, I mean, Roman did that.
Yeah, have Cody win the match for him too. That's how you do it. But anyway, SmackDown's debut on the USA Network was absolutely nothing but a pop from us. Absolutely great show. Obviously, week-to-week television won't be this exciting all the time, but if they could carry this momentum, carry the torch, we should be in for some good wrestling here. Mm-hmm. But anyway, follow us on all of our socials at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. Listen to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts, at YouTube, Spotify, Apple, etc. And then join our Discord if you want in our link tree in the bio. Come talk. We talked all the entire SmackDown during the debut on USA last night, so it's a fun time. But as always, I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast, and we will see you next time.